thank you, Mr. Gary Hines of Sounds of Blackness, for pursuing this amazing interview with us. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I like to say you not only been a great friend, you have been just everything to me. Your music group has been a blessing to me. So I want to thank you for that as well.
Oh, bless you for your friendship and support, my brother and sister. And on behalf of Sounds of Blackness Singers and Band, as we celebrate our 50th anniversary this year.
Thank you. Great, great. So you have a special edition justice package coming out, which include royalty, Black Lives Matter, and Sick and Tired. Can you tell us about this package?
Yes, I can. We're going to be releasing a new single on Juneteenth called Time for Reparations. And, it's not a new call, but it was time for it to be put to music. And, we thought, you know what? Time for Reparations is like the next step in the series of singles that we've been releasing in Sounds of Blackness that have been so socially and racially conscious for justice related. And so it's like, you know what? The word justice keeps coming up. Let's make it a justice package and include Black Lives Matter, which we did about 4 years ago, specifically, of course, for the Black Lives Matter movement. And then about 3 years ago, we recorded the song with High School for Recording Arts as our special guest called Royalty. We got a message from above, you ain't no thug, you're royalty. And that was especially in response to the occupant of the White president at the time, who was deriding our youth in particular and calling them thugs left and right. And so Sounds of Blackness came out with Royalty. We got a message from above. God himself wants you to know you ain't no thug. You're also not the descendants of just slaves. You're the descendants of royal African kingdoms. You are royalty. So we came out with Royalty. And then just coming up on a year ago, in fact, Juneteenth of 2020, we released our current single, the words of the late, great Fannie Lou Hamer. And we give her credit. We've been in touch with her family to give them credit and to bring them in as well. Because a lot of people use this phrase that we use as the song title, but don't know or don't acknowledge its origin. And it was Fannie Lou Hamer who in the 1964 Democratic National Convention speech told the world, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And she was talking about injustice and white supremacy and police brutality. And so how telling is it that half a century later, her words are as relevant and in some ways even more relevant. And so when Brother George Floyd was murdered, literally 5 blocks from where Sounds of Blackness rehearse, right in the heart of the Southside Black community here in Minneapolis, we were motivated to do a song about that because the killing, the lynching really of Brother Floyd, in and of itself warranted music and recognition and all the protests that happened worldwide. But even more significant, Brother Aaron, is that what happened to Brother Floyd is something that has happened to our people in one form or another for 4 centuries. And so that's why, we built the barricade and the George Floyd Square right in the heart of the community on 38th in Chicago, really about 12 blocks from my apartment right here that I'm speaking to you from. Because yes, it's about George Floyd, but it's also that this represents something that's gone on for 4 centuries. And so that's why Fannie Lou Hamer's words are so important. And we put to music, sick and tired of being sick and tired. And now for this Juneteenth, it's like, okay, you all need to quit playing. And in fact, even the lyric in the song says, pay up, it's time to pay up, time for reparations.
Okay, nice. Okay. So that was going to be one of my other questions too, because you guys messages strongly about hope, unity, culture, inspiration, love, and so on. So with the songs you just mentioned about social justice, and due to the global social injustice and equality issues, you continue and your group continue to take a stand when it comes to justice and equality. Many artists wouldn't do that. So why is this so important for you all?
Great question too, my brother. Well, for a few reasons, actually, Brother Aaron. First of all, this is not new for Sounds of Blackness. From day one, when we began at my alma mater here in the Twin Cities, Macalester College, In January of 71, we used to be called the McAllister Black Voices before then, but in January of 71, we renamed ourselves the Sounds of Blackness, and that was in the tradition of Duke Ellington, which surprises a lot of people when I say that, because we hear Duke's name and we think of jazz, and we should, but too many people don't know that Duke wrote and recorded and performed spirituals, African songs, gospel, hymns, anthem, blues. He did every sound of blackness. So that template was laid for us to follow in that footstep. So my point being, though, is, by way of answering your question, since day one, Sounds of Blackness has had as our primary goal to glorify God and to uplift people through Black music. And we start with our own people to do that. As Sister Billie Holiday, Lady Day told us, God bless the child that's got his own. And so from day one, we have been in the vanguard of the movement with our music. So this is not new for Sounds of Blackness. This is a continuation of a 50-year legacy. And we tell artists today, go ahead, have your party music. Even Gamble and Huff told us in the song, Message in Our Music, to understand while you dance. But understand means be conscious and be connected to the movement in some kind of way, because that's the legacy. The civil rights movement had, of course, Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around and Old Freedom Over Me. But everybody knows that the primary anthem of the civil rights movement was We Shall Overcome. And fast forward 10 years to the Black Power and Black Pride movement, Black is Beautiful movement. Aretha, the Queen, was singing To Be Young, Gifted, and Black, along with Nina Simone and Donny Hathaway. And Donny sang, Take It From Me, One Day We'll All Be Free. But everybody knows that the primary anthem of the Black Power movement was my favorite artist, the Godfather of Soul, who said, Say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. So now for this movement and manifestation, like I say, we Sounds of Blackness lend our music to the Black Lives Matter with that theme song as well in the same title, and with Royalty and Sick and Tired. And now, so this latest manifestation, Time for Reparations, we say reparations are overdue, 40 acres and a mule. So we tie to the past, just of course the Sankofa spirit, moving into the future, but have to look into the past to do that. So that's the spirit, in the spirit of Sankofa. That's what Time for Reparations is all about.
Awesome. That's great.
Nice.
Great.
Now, Mr. Hines, Sounds of Blackness has been around for 50 years. As you just said, this is your 50-year anniversary. So how do you all remain relevant?
And first of all, thank you for the love, my sister. Sounds of Blackness remain relevant by staying in the movement, first and foremost. It's so important for us, and I think as artists, to be in the vanguard of the movement, just to reuse that phrase. And again, we have examples that we follow for that set that legacy, whether it was Billie Holiday. And I say that name, and that surprises a lot of people. They say, Billie Holiday? You mean Lady Sings the Blues and God Bless the Child, which a lot of people think is her theme song, but I promise you it was not. She is the first to say, rest her soul, that her theme song was Strange Fruit, protesting lynching of Black folks in America. Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. Oh, there's strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. So artists that have been about the movement, whether it's Paul Robeson or Nina Simone, or like I say, Billie Holiday, the list goes on and on and on. Staying relevant means staying in the street, being connected in the hood with the people, grassroots level. And if you do that, you can't help but stay connected and relevant.
And as you mentioned earlier, everything is already laid out for the group. And you said 1971. So you was a part of that group, I want to say, during that era. So when you became the music director, did you bring any ideas or knew the direction that you wanted to take it, or was it just basically laid out for you?
Well, God gave the vision when I was asked on as director, and that was again in January of 71. At the time, the group that was already existing at McAllister College under the direction of our emeritus friend and brother from Beaumont, Texas, Brother Russell Knighton, they were called the McAllister College Black Voices. And they primarily sang freedom songs and Black consciousness songs as well, with some gospel and that type of thing. When I was asked on as director, as I was mentioning a moment ago, really the vision God gave me was to follow the template of a Duke Ellington and to do the music of the culture, jazz, blues, R&B, rock, hip hop, spirituals, work songs, field hollers, ring shouts, some terms that people aren't even familiar with and don't even hear anymore. But, you know, it's, as I remind people, especially a lot of church folk, it's impossible to appreciate the glory, hallelujah of the gospel without the pain, the blues, and the history of the spiritual. So they're all part, each of those musical genres are created out of Black genius and survival, and they're all part of our cultural testimony. There is no gospel without the blues. There is no hip hop without jazz, and on and on and on. There is no R&B without soul. And so we, as Sounds of Blackness, bring the music, all of those styles of music. We couldn't call ourselves Sounds of Blackness and just did gospel or just did blues, because we wouldn't be telling the full story. And so, you know, that's been our legacy, and will continue to be.
Absolutely, it's a beautiful legacy also. And are
Oh,
you guys? Are you welcome? Are you still affiliated with McAllister College, Sounds of Blackness?
And actually, it's funny you say that. Yes, we are. And the reason I say it's funny you say that is because we always have been, not necessarily in an official capacity, but the reason, again, that I say it's interesting you mention that now is because literally just now in 2021, Brother Aaron, we Sounds of Blackness and McAllister are stepping up our interaction, our collaboration. In fact, the current Vice President of Student Affairs, Donna Lee, is making connections with the college, reconnecting the college and Sounds of Blackness in the music department and the entrepreneur department on a number of different levels. So we are in the process, as we speak, of reinforcing is the word I want, the relationship between Sounds of Blackness and McAllister College.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's revisit you all's 50th year anniversary. Mr. Hines, can you tell me what type of gratification is that for you?
Well, you know, the old spiritual, my sister says, my soul looks back and wonders. 50 years, just even trying to comprehend that. It's tremendous gratification. It's unreal or kind of surreal in some ways, because in one perspective, it feels like forever ago, and another perspective, it feels like only yesterday. So sometimes, you know, I have to try to balance that. But to directly answer your question, it's gratifying. It's encouraging. It makes me just overwhelmed, really. You know, with thankfulness to God first and foremost, to the hundreds of people who have been a part of Sounds of Blackness over the 50-year history, both singers and musicians. Sometimes our band doesn't get enough credit, and we got a monstrous band. So the singers and band of Sounds of Blackness. But then the third entity is you all. You know, there's a scripture that says, how will they hear without a preacher? Well, when it comes to music, how will they hear without a DJ, without an Aaron Robinson, without a consciousness? We can make all the music we want, but if we don't have the love and support of you all, it won't get to the masses. So those are the three components: God first, the dedicated members of Sounds of Blackness, and then the supporters and transmitters of the music, such as you all. So we send that love and appreciation right back to you.
I say, but it worked both ways, because the message of your music, and I always tell you this, even through my family, the struggles that we went through, and a time that I felt like I wanted to give up on a lot of things, I heard Sounds of Blackness. My mother introduced me to Sounds of Blackness, and I seen the things that she was going through in life, and I'm like, hey, I like this music. So I started playing it more and more, and it uplifted me. Even when we went through some tragic situations in our life, I put in Sounds of Blackness, and it was always inspiration. Like, I can do this. No matter what it is, you know, I could do this. And I never knew, like, years after that, me going through my struggles, we'll connect. So it had to be some type of connection there. But if I never did what I needed to do, we maybe would never cross paths if I never got over that hump in my life or them struggles. So that brought me
Yes.
to. So, you know, I just wanted
Well,
to
you
share
know,
that.
thank you for sharing that. And my old barber used to say, that's the big man work, and that's just a God thing, no other way around it. I don't believe in happenstance. And Brother Aaron, just to hear you say that, man, and I know you've mentioned it before, but I'll just say it publicly now. Sounds of Blackness, as you know, has been, blessed to win awards and Grammys and so forth. And believe me, we treasure them. I'd be lying if I said we didn't. But I bring that up to make this point. What you just said, or when people come up to us, I mean, perfect strangers, men, women, young, old, black, white, Asian, Latino, whoever, at an airport or on the street or whatever, will come up to us and say, that our music helped to save their life, or they were thinking about taking their life, and they heard the music and it saved their life, or brought them closer to God, or got them out of an abusive relationship, or motivated them to get back into school, or whatever it was. The Grammys and all those things are great, but those real life things, it's like the beer commercial says, doesn't get any better than that.
That's the truth.
Mhm.
That's the truth. Yeah.
So for many decades, the group has achieved many accomplishments and much success, of course. So what's next for you all? Is there like a retirement point for you, or do you feel like this is your passion and just something that you just want to continue to do?
Well, this is my passion, and as well as my profession, as well as my calling, and it's my life, really. No retirement. My musical mentor, Duke Ellington, said, once you retire, you're dead. And so, we don't plan on that, hopefully, anytime soon. So, and he said, I'd rather wear out than rust out. So I'll do my best to wear out rather than rust out, as well as Sounds of Blackness. This is a life mission for us. In fact, the father of the great R&B artist Stokely, formerly of Mint Condition, his name is Professor Mahmoud El-Kadi. He is a professor of African and African-American history. And the relevance of that to your question, my sister, Professor Mahmoud El-Kadi was professor at Macalester College, and he's been one of our guiding mentors since day one. And from day one, he said to me, don't let Sounds of Blackness just be a band, just be a group. He said, I want you guys to be a cultural legacy, an institution, a cultural institution, and part of a speaking voice for Black America. So we incorporated, we technically are a 501c3 organization, Sounds of Blackness Incorporated. We took his words seriously to make Sounds of Blackness and everything we stand for and a cultural institution more than just a band.
And not only that, Mr. Hines, you are human. You are approachable. Like you said, no matter how many awards, anything you have, you always make yourself available if I call. You just the down to earth individual, and not too many artists who have those accomplishments or have that much success. Some turn their back on you, but you human, you real, and I appreciate that from an individual like you, so I just want to say thank you for that. Yeah.
Oh, bless you, brother. And I hear what you're saying, but we got to keep it 100, got to keep it real. I'm a native New Yorker, just a street guy, that's about the community, about the hood, about the people, and that never goes away, or at least doesn't go away from me. We're about to do a concert in a few days to commemorate the 1 year loss of Brother George Floyd. And that will be here in Minneapolis, and we're going to do that with another brother who's of the people and of the village, Common. I know you know him, and know of him, and so we're going to do that. We're going to do a couple of sets, and then we're going to do a grand finale together here in Minneapolis at George Floyd Square. And I mention that to say that there are those among us, who keep it real, who are really serious about our people, about all people, about the movement, about humanity and justice, and got to keep it on the real side. All the true greats that I have met are really down to earth and accessible, like you blessed me with those words about me. I mean, Stevie Wonder, Quincy Jones, I mean, down the line, bigger than life, you know, when you hear the name and you think of them, but when you're actually shoulder to shoulder with them, you know, just another brother. So that's how we try to be.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Because some months back, you actually put your creativity on a project, one of our projects, actually Tocarra project, The Song Don't Cry. We was grateful for that. And I always want to ask you, how was that experience for you? We reached out and you didn't hesitate and you did what you had to do.
Oh, well, you know, I always consider it an honor. And I think any and every artist should. First of all, if someone wants you even to hear their music, to share what's come out of their heart, because music is, we are not so much human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and music is spirit, the essence of the soul and spirit. And so when somebody shares or wants to share music with you, they're sharing their soul and spirit with you. I mean, it's deep like that, you know. And so I revere that, and I'm honored and humbled by that. So, you know, with you all, I was honored and humbled by that as well, and always will be. And so it's very gratifying, you know, is the short part of the answer. But it's gratifying because, you know, it's an extension of your heart and soul. And like we like to say, what comes from the heart reaches the heart.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's very inspiring. And in the industry, many artists may not accomplish a hit song or, you know, have a long tenure. Do you have any advice for aspiring artists or groups who want to have the success and longevity as Sounds of Blackness?
Yes, in fact, we try to make it easy. There's a number of words that start with the letter P that I want to throw out. First is prayer, okay? Because as I said, this music is a spiritual endeavor. And even if you're a person that's not of a faith tradition and don't pray, we're still good with it. You know, you still need to meditate or however you want to reach your spirit, your inner core, because again, we are spiritual beings, and music is a spiritual reality and is a spiritual form of communication. And so for those of us that are people of faith, my first P is to pray. The second one is to practice your craft every day, and especially when things are slow and when they're not going in the direction that you would like, or as quickly as you would like. It's easy to let go of preparation and practice of your craft, but it's imperative, you know, to keep those chops up, to always improve, and to be ready for when the time comes. So prayer and practice. And the third P is preparation. Learn, you know, the scripture even tells us to study to show ourselves approved. But, you know, to learn about the industry, one of the most underutilized resources, Brother Aaron, I know you know, in any community is the library. You know, a library card costs what, $1? Okay, but books there about the music industry, about music production, all those things, or even to go online. You know, you don't have to go to the library, but prepare yourself, learn about, you know, your craft as well in the industry and the arena that you're trying to enter, so that you're knowledgeable about it. And then the fourth P is perspiration. You know, so many people come so close to where they want to be and give up right before because they didn't put in enough sweat equity. You know, this doesn't fall into your lap. It's about an everyday grind, as I know both you all know. You know, keeping your nose to the grind, to the wheel, to the grindstone, however you want to put it. And there is sweat involved. And the final P is perseverance. You know, so that when you persevere and you're persistent. I want, you know, a great football coach once said that the ultimate measure of excellence is consistency. That anybody can be good for a day, but when you persevere and are persistent with it, then it will be, your efforts will be consistent. So those are the P's for you. Hopefully that helps, you know, in some way, and that makes it easier to remember, you know, that prayer, that preparation, that practice, perspiration, and persistence and perseverance.
Wow, Gary, that's why we love you. You full of wisdom and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
You really are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bless you, brother and sister.
Now, Mr. Hines, before we conclude, is there anything else that you would like to share with us that we may have not covered?
Okay, well, what I would like to share before we conclude is that y'all call me Gary and not Mr. Hines, you know, because we cool like that. But I appreciate the respect and love, though. Yeah, we ain't mad at you. But what I would share, a couple of things. I would encourage all of your followers, viewers, listeners online, whatever the situation may be, we invite you on behalf of Sounds of Blackness to please get in touch and stay in touch with Sounds of Blackness on all of our social sites, starting with our website. And it's easy to remember, all of our social site names basically are just our name, Sounds of Blackness. So for example, our website is soundsofblackness.org. Our Twitter is @SoundsBlackness. So we're on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. My goodness, what did I leave out? We're on all of them. And I promise you, leave us a message there. Look on our calendar on the site, see what's going on. Leave us a message, and within a day or two, we will get back to you. And when you get that reply, you can know that it is from one of the members, very possibly myself or one of our other members, not just from some intern or from a machine. But we keep it real and we stay in touch with you. So please hit our websites. Please check out our current video, Sick and Tired, on YouTube. And speaking of the website, just by way of closing up and answering your question, we encourage you all to go to our website. And a lot of people asked about the t-shirts that Sounds of Blackness wear in our Sick and Tired video. And of course, they say Sick and Tired, and people like them, and the caps and so forth, and even the masks. Or they want to buy a copy of the single. You can do that on our website, soundsofblackness.org. And that's not just a cheap plug and promotion. I want you to know that when you do purchase that t-shirt or that single, that you are contributing, because Sounds of Blackness are donating a portion of any proceeds to the George Floyd Scholarship Fund.
Wow. Nice. So thank you again, Gary. We appreciate you. And thank you so much for this lovely interview. It's been great.
Hold your head up high to the sky, so high as the days go by. I promise everything is gonna be